Hello guys, I hope you're doing absolutely amazing. So today I have a Platinum Reinhardt player who really needs to think a little bit more about taking high ground and controlling it. They actually do take high ground at one point. It's pretty much textbook perfect, except they drop at a certain point in the map and the entire high ground gets completely flipped. The enemy team takes it, kills their team on high ground, and they lose a point because of it. So it's a really interesting discussion, high ground control in that sense. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoy the video. So, the intro is, I am dumb and gave out an out-of-date replay code. This is my alt account in which I'm learning / forcing rein because LH Cloudy. In this game I tried to incorporate taking high ground more, but not sure how well / correctly I'm doing so. I'm 5 stacking, the random was Lucio. By the way, LH Cloudy in that SBV video sounds so bored of the game. He just sounds completely done with life, like he'd been forced into this interview and he didn't have a choice. He sounds like he's under duress. He sounds like he's under duress. Don't tell me how many you have. That's just gonna make me not make a chance for longer, that you can build more. Cool. So we're on Rein Sigma with Pokey Pokey, Brawly Brawly. Like, this isn't coherent for a start. Yeah, this isn't coherent. So that Anna is support for you, and kind of a little bit support from the Sigma, but the Sigma doesn't want to be taking damage anyway. Then you've got Poke, no pocket for the Poke, no healing for the Poke. So this Anna is performing triple time duty, while the Lucio is just going to speed you in. So yeah, it doesn't make sense at all. Whereas this comp, okay, we've got the kind of like double bubble duo, but we don't have the core backline of double bubble. We have pharmacy, and then Anna just to stand on main and heal them. Genji's there because Genji plus Anna equals good. That's basically the equation people have done in their minds.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Genji as a pick pretty much forces Anna at this point. Nobody plays him without it, so now we have Anna. Hello, Wakerin. Good evening. Right, so the trouble with this comp, right, is we're going to get out-poked, and we're going to get dived. And what happens when we get out-poked and dived? We effing die. We've got 2 poke heroes. So this is poke, this is brawl, this is poke, this is poke dive hybrid, this is brawl or dive. So like, we got everything. There's no coherency. We need to work out how to play in this comp. For the most part, I would just go something like Diva instead. For the most part, I'd just go something like Diva. I just abandoned all thought of just playing Reinhardt in this scenario because it's too much of a clusterfuck. I'd probably go Bull. That's me on my tank roll. Okay, nice saving shield. Let me just turn down the game. Apologies, I was winning games before the stream. So we go straight up to high ground and we fought to Winston off. That's cool. I do need to be able to flex more. It is true. Are you a Rein OTP or do you have other picks? Is that just pretty much what you do? I mean, Rein's not a bad person to OTP, but when you're on full-on poke like this, like, obviously this Lucio doesn't fit here, and that Anna Lucio kind of enable you to do this Rein regardless. But your comp's very split in the two directions, isn't it? Because Zarya as well, but my dive heroes are straight bad. It doesn't necessarily have to be dive heroes. Even things like Ball and Roadhog like fit pretty well here. Anything that's mid-rangey, you're fine with going. Lucy's RB okay here, but in reality, Rein's probably better at anti-diving than Zarya. Okay, so we're just staying at mid-range. Remember, when people are on dive against us, we kind of want to go into the back line. They swap to Ashe, and do you know what their swapping to Ashe tells us? Yay, we're in a good position. That's what it tells us. Like, we don't like Pharah, especially with this. We can't do anything about the Pharah. We just have to cross our fingers that these two get picks on her, and we have no support for them, so they have to do a fight against the pharmacy on their own. Like, that's scary. Cool. Yeah. So what things do we care about blocking as Reinhardt? It's like this bullshit. All of this bullshit. Where did she throw them? I got a feeling she just wasted both her cooldowns. Yeah, she just wasted both her cooldowns. And she slept the cart. But you need to think about this. If you're swinging into this, Winston, you're just dead. Because not only is your Ana around the corner from you, and nobody came with you, but the sleep dart's still in the picture. So you need to actually think about these cooldowns. I think you're just like, you're not thinking about it. Ow, ow, ow. Yeah, we're dead. So we've overextended, we've fed, and it's pretty much a foregone conclusion from here. The good part is that the rest of our team works well as a poke comp, so they can slow them down, try and play around them, and hopefully they don't get a dive on us. So as long as Sigma gets a pocket, nothing else really comes in. The Nano's in on the Winston, but you just use jump, so you're still in a good position as long as people don't press the W button into it. Only punish monkey jumping if he actually jumps on your team. Yep, that's the other thing. Cool. I saw monkey jump and tried to punish, but that makes a lot of sense. That one is 100% on me. Cool. Yeah, you don't just get to swing on things sometimes. You don't just get to do it. Cool. So yeah, your Sigma goes down to basically nothing. I think it was mostly the Winston damage that got him. But now your team's split. I think you lost this. The moment you have the tanks down, you have no core, and they just dive you. You have no core, no anti-dive. We're out, but yeah, that's not going to do anything. Cool. That's fine by me. We lose the next few. Well, there's no reason right here for you to lose the next few, is there? Like, this is fine. Like, you're doing okay. Like, they don't have Nano Blade synced. They don't have Bob. They only have Primal and Valk. So you're in a good spot right here. You've got Bob, you've got Nano, you've got Shatter. Like, you're doing good. The next fight is a devolved mess. Well, that's your team's fault for not resetting properly, I guess. If it's a devolved mess, I'll view it up here. So Primal goes down, knocks your Sigma off. Man, that Winston's carrying. Yep, low rank Winston, obviously a smurf, knows what to do, and guess what his job is? Get you the fuck off high ground so they can keep staggering you. And he's done his job. So he does his job. Now they got high ground and you don't. Yeah, good Primal. Unironically, good Primal. Because they now get to take this fight how they want it. Yeah, they now get to take this fight exactly how they want. So let's see the rest. Let's see from your point of view. Honestly, this is less about your individual plays and more about your positioning, so I'd rather do it from here. Genji goes into the back with Blade. Yep. Blade with damage boost just kills you. Yeah, I don't think there's anything you individually could have done there, apart from, I don't know, taking high ground with your team, but apart from that, your team just had to back off to the point where you could actually fight the Genji. Cool. On Rein, you can't do anything about that. If you're gonna stick Rein, this is kind of like some of the cross you there. You sometimes can't do anything about this bullshit. Yeah, weird how good that Primal was, wasn't it? Like, that was an awful Primal. It did nothing, and yet it still won them the fight because they got us off high ground. That's how strong high ground is. You know what I said this morning? I said about using your positioning to trade for cooldowns and your cooldowns to trade for ultimates. They had to use an ultimate to get you off of this positioning because high ground was so ridiculously strong, and it was still a good play because positioning's so ridiculously good in this game. Like, positioning's so important. Come out here. Okay. So you see what's happened here? They have like the perfect concave on your way out. None of you are pushed this side, so you don't have any pressure on here. The trouble with this Lucio here, is this Lucio provides help to your core, and your Ana provides help to the core, but nothing can provide help to the outside. The trouble with Lucio is he can't sustain a group on his own. He needs to have everyone clumped. If you on like Ana Mercy, the Mercy goes on the right with the Ashe, the Mercy clears the right, the Ana keeps the core, and then you can split into a 4 and a 2. But you can't split into a 4 and a 2 if the 4 only have Lucio healing. There's just nothing you can do about that. So like, it does make it very difficult. Which is mainly why Lucio gets played in Brawl and only Brawl at the moment. Blades out. Yeah, that's about what I expected, dude. Okay. Okay, cool. So let's start from high ground. What do we think? Got a reasonable concave. Obviously, Sigma's just like in the middle of nowhere doing nothing. We want him kind of like on the cart with the Ana. We want these 3 on here. And you 3 on high ground. Like, that's the split we want, 3 and 3. We don't really want to pile everyone up. We don't really want to have everyone on high ground. So we start on high. If the Lucio's here, you can make the Winston fuck off very easily on high. Like, you shouldn't take much chip, so you don't need a strong healer. Mercy comes up with you. Let's see what happened. You were 3 up here. Yeah, you were 3 up here, so you're fine. Echo gets the Genji. Like, that's cool. That's cool as far as I'm concerned. Like, you traded out well for that. Put some music on. Yeah, you traded out well for that. But Nana goes on to the Genji in order to actually take the high ground. So you traded your positioning and your cooldowns for an ultimate, which is basically how the game works in Overwatch. We drop. Nice. So now we drop, we're on point. What's happened to their team? Well, our Sigma's been doing nothing this entire time. He thought he'd ride the elevator up, and he just got to high ground. I bet you he drops. Yeah, of course he fucking drops instantly. The Sigma's just like da 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 whoop da 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 da. I've got good positioning and I'm giving it up. Crazy. The hell. By the way, if anyone wants to be pinged when I'm live, go into the Ping When Ralph is Live channel. I don't want the entire server to be notifications, so I haven't made it automatic. I know some people do it, it annoys the hell out of me, so I've turned that off unless you actually enable it yourself. Of course, that's if you're interested in that. If we took high with this time, it's with Ana. Lucio's just like standing around main doing nothing. Sigma's again, I don't know what this Sigma's doing this game. Your Sigma's a bot, I've worked out. He's a bot, this is fine. Your Zarya's pushing. I guess the Lucio's job is to stall this, that's fine. So he can stay on the bottom, yeah, stall off the payload. Or, like, you 4 just need to stay here. Nah, bad. I mean, you can just rush in on him. Like, that's okay. But realistically, like, if they get high ground for you killing their Zarya, they're still happy about this. They're on low charge, right? So you have the advantage to start with. If they get the high ground, they can actually win out over you. I won't send him this VOD. He's a Sigma main. I won't send him this VOD. So we get the Zarya, right? What's actually played out when we got the Zarya? So you see what's played out here. This is your choice. This is your decision making. Do you think this was worth it? Yeah? So you see the problem here. See why I said no? Because all they want is this high ground. This is the only thing they fight for. If they get the widow on this high ground, they win. So the moment you drop, you get... So I always say with McCrees and things like that, when they're on high ground, they get steady, consistent value. But when they drop, they get a burst of value, and then they have a lot of risk or no value at all. Okay, so you get the burst of value for killing the Zarya. Okay, we've got that. We've got one person in the bag. They've jumped the high ground. They've killed our Echo. So we took risk, and we haven't been really rewarded by it. Sigma has to drop. See, if we were up here, we could have made them F off. We could have made them F off. They would have had to use ultimates in order to get our position, and they don't have anything to use apart from Primal in a bit. They would have had to soft dive with Winston, then dive up again to use Primal in order to remove us. We've been slept on the payload all the way over here. Ash just about wins a fight. That's the thing I didn't even think about, what the trading of positioning for ultimates, or just the fact that they jump the high ground the moment you leave. We're doing stuff, okay. No individual critique of your play. Quite frankly, in these kind of like dive matchups, what matters is positioning. What doesn't matter is your individual play. Your individual play is probably fine. You're probably doing good. I thought killing Zarya was a good play, but in terms of high ground, yeah. What is this Zarya doing? She's being annoying, and you've already got a fork on her from the Ashe and from this high ground. So like, you've got people that can shoot her. She can't stay there. She has to leave unless their entire team comes down onto main. But they're going to jump high ground regardless because they've got a Widow they want to place up there. If this Ashe loses the fight to this Widow, you just lose. Cool. These kind of like dive VODs are a lot more important than these kind of like Zarya, Rein, Ana, Zarya, Rein, Ana VODs. They're a lot more important to look at because you can actually see the consequence of your actions that you can't see in first person. Cool. Did that close up? Echo goes high. Nobody else is taking high. All reset to high. Ashe is doing really good, by the way. This is exactly what you want with Ashe. Most of the time, this is why you wouldn't go Lucio in this situation. Lucio's okay because he has quite a lot of booping potential off the high ground. You can control it a little bit better. But you just go Ashe Mercy. You pocket the Ashe here. She can always go up to high ground if she needs to. But you set up the fork. You set up the Echo on this side with maybe a Brig up here and then these two tanks. And then you set up the Ashe with the Mercy on another point. So you hold this really strong and then you set up a fork with the other person. Okay, cool. Let's go back down to normal speed. So giving up on Carp. So the issue right now is when we drop, what are they going to do? They're going to trade for the high ground, right? They're going to just jump the high ground if they're a good team. Your Ana drops first, so you don't really have a choice, so that's decided for you. If they just stay here, right? If they just stay here, they're going to slowly die. They cannot live here. What they should be doing is diving your Ashe at the back and then going into the back here. They haven't done that. They just kind of like stood on the car. So I expect to see, well, what we expect to happen happens. Ana dies because she dropped first like an idiot. Ashe gets value from the high ground because she got a really good position up here. Your Sigma's just like, I don't know, just doing stuff. I guess Sigma. Yeah. See, yeah. Winston eventually goes up. Good coach gun off. Like, that was really good by them. Mercy gets a res on the Genji in the middle of your team. Crazy. Genji should die. He gets out. And now we've done a trade, and you see where we've ended up. We've ended up with their soldier on high ground, probably with a healing field still. Let's see if he has it. Yeah, he has healing field still, soldier on high ground. So he's literally going to plomp the healing field here and go ham on you any second. That's what's going to happen. You didn't have a choice in any of this. Your Sigma dropping was a mistake by the Sigma. He should have stayed high ground to hold it for your team. 90% of what Sigma does is just exist on high ground to stop people getting it. And then it's a blade time. Where's our beat, dude? Okay, well, Sigma did good. He got 2. Why didn't the Sigma just reset to high ground when he did that? Just bizarre, right? If I'm fluxing this, I don't want to flux this. I want to flux this and get the best positioning in the game on this high ground. So literally what I'd be doing here is I'd be fluxing while going straight to high, and then I'd be contesting the soldier the moment I got to high. But he just drifts towards the grab? Crazy. Okay, this should be 1 from him. And that's because of the good flux. Genji fed early for no reason around here just to kill your Ana. If they put any pressure on your Ashe, any real pressure, she would have just died.
30 seconds.
They had good staging for the Ashe, they just didn't take it. You get a pick on the Ana. Cool. This is one of the... Like, it's really hard to set up poke comps in ranked. It's really hard to do. And the reason why it's hard to do is because you can't fucking trust people. Like, why is the Lucio over here with the Ashe? Sure, she needs the pocket, but you're on effing Lucio. You don't help her. Why is the Sigma in the middle here? Like, okay, that's fine. That's okay positioning for him, but he's not really helping your team. Why is the Ana like standing right behind you when you know they got a Winston? Why isn't she standing like on the ledge here so she's safer? Like the micro positioning here is just terrible.
10 seconds remaining.
It's very interesting to see a lower ranked game where people actually play poke properly, or more or less properly, and see the differences and the mistakes between that and actual competitive play. That Winston's hella dead. He just jumps naked onto this combo with a nano boost in it. I just nano boost the Reinhardt and win the game. Yeah. He manages to fade back well enough. You drop because you feel like you need to get more value. Remember, your comp gets value over time. It does not get the burst of values you're used to as Reinhardt. It gets value from this and from this. If this doesn't happen, if either of these crumble, then you have some trouble. You get the burst of value by dropping, cool. But this is more like I'm crossing my fingers I get someone, or I land on someone from high ground. You didn't really have the scouting on them to tell that you were going to get them before you went down. Okay. So back to your view. Oh, what happened there? Died very quickly. Oh, you got antied. So we drop with Nano, we get antied. Yeah, well, I'm going to say that was bad. Strictly bad. I'm very used to Goat's Error, Int Brain. Yeah, pretty much. That's literally... Nobody is used to playing anything apart from... What is it? Rein Zarya, Ana Zen, Hanzo, Genji. So for the DPS, so you got Hanzo, Genji, Sigma, Echo, Sigma? Hanzo, Genji, Echo, McCree, and then Mei, and then Reaper. Just all the core DPS, like Ashe as well. You put in a Mercy instead of the Zen. You put in a Ashe in there. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So what's happened now? Your Ashe has dropped high ground for no reason. Your Echo's just in the middle of their team behind. Lucky he hasn't seen her because she's dead. That's coming in onto the tanks, but it really should be healing these people up because they're really low. Your Echo finds value. She gets 2. Like, this is really good. Like, with a couple of balls from the Sigma. Yeah. Cool. So you know what you want to do. You know the high ground is good, but I feel like you're just not patient enough. You're just too scared. You're just too scared of them getting a little bit of cart push instead of winning the fight. The longer you stay up here, the more you're stable up here, the higher chance you have of winning. You get an advantage and then push it by dropping. That's what you do. You don't drop just because they're on cart. You have the advantage if they're on cart. There is the additional thought that if the Winston gets proper staging on this high ground, you're kind of screwed. So you want to hold them off from being able to do that. But most of the time you can't with Reinhardt. And do you know the term staging? Is that new to you? Staging is just standing in a place where they can get the dive. When you get an advantage not to create one. Yeah, for the most part. Remember, their comp is worse than yours. Their comp is worse than yours at what they're currently doing. What does their comp do? It dives someone. It gets onto this Ashe. It gets onto you. It needs to take the high ground and stay on high ground, especially with Soldier there. So you give up your advantage to gain the burst of value, but you gain the burst of value a little bit too early. And obviously there's exceptions to every rule. When I say drop to create, and like after you get an advantage, that's not always true, because it never will be. I mean, there are so many situations where you want to drop because you know this is secure, And most of them are, I see Winston has jumped, so we're safe for 6 seconds. Quite frankly, that is enough of a tell to drop and get your burst of value, because they can't get this high ground for a bit, and you think the fight's going to be resolved by the time you get his jump back up. If you see something good, if you see something that you can easily get value from, yeah. But if you're just generally dropping in order to drop and start doing stuff without a target, you need better scouting, I guess I could say. Better scouting in order to know why you're doing something, not only that it is being done. Okay, we're getting staggered. Oh. Good job, Ash. You should have died 3 hours ago. Why didn't you just walk in 13? So this is where I'm going to go back to actually looking, not in third person. You can no longer create a proper split onto their team. This is much more of a brawl map. Sigma kind of like doesn't have a place here. He has a place if you're not on Rein, but if you're not on Rein, the Lucio's useless, so meh.
60 seconds.
Sigma feeds. Don't know why he fed. You get high ground, but I think just backing up your Sigma here was the better play. Most of the time when you're playing this comp, you want to create the concave, the fork here. But you need something in the middle to stop them, right? You need something here for the concave. If you don't have something here, what happens? They just walk in, and then the Ash starts shooting them, and then they jump the Ash. But you should kind of like place yourself like just here, just to stop them. Probably just hold this corner here. It's enough value. You don't need to always do the high ground. You do make the Ash completely undiveable by standing here. Like, sure, they can give it a try, but they're going to die. Yeah, well, that's what happens. Take a little bit too much chip damage. Just a little bit too much chip damage. I know what you're going for, but you just took a lot of damage from Soldier. Cool. Ow.
30 seconds remaining.
And then what does the Winston do? Well, you're out of the picture, so he just jumps the Ash on the next cooldown. So you see, you went from here with strong position, you're holding with the Ash. You dropped a little bit too early, I think. You took a little bit of chip damage, and then on their next cooldown, they just jump up to the Ash. Dive is not a fast comp. It's a very like methodical comp that goes, okay, we're going to jump this guy. 6 seconds later, we're going to jump this guy. 6 seconds later, we're going to jump this guy. We're going to slowly take out all the different like parts of the poke. The way you win against dive is you rotate the poke away from them. You rotate away, you chip them down before they stage their dive so that they can't do it well. This dive has a little bit more of a core. So like these elements are less emphasized, but these elements are more emphasized. But yeah. I'm saying dive as a general rule. This is kind of like a hybrid poke dive, which everything's hybrid poke in ranked. Cool. Okay. Okay, this should be one, right? Yeah, you got two. Should be one. I think they're just staggering at this point. Cool. Yeah, you're good. Can you just stop? Do you want to skip the VOD to a relevant time? 3 years later. Excellent. Cool, we got the round. Okay. 30 seconds. Ah! We're running super fast. Let's get the best music in the history of time, the Polybridge soundtrack on. Because I love the Polybridge soundtrack. So if you don't, but I love it, so it's staying. Okay. Okay, so we charge out, a little bit risky. Like, if you get anti-tear or slept, you can just die. You have to be a bit careful. So, we're now playing Rein pretty much straight up into Rein, Zarya, Anna. What do you want to look out for in Rein, Zarya, Anna? I went over it earlier. We want to look out for sleep, nade, shatter. That's pretty much all you want to look out for. Projected, personal. So you've got 5 things to track. In terms of your own team, you don't really care as much. You want to track when you've got speed, but that's about it. Whoa, slow down, you're at half health. Or it doesn't heal that fast. Okay, you want to slow yourself down a little bit. See, you forced your Moira to go in at very low health there by being a bit too greedy. You got the high ground, cool. What does the soldier do when you get high ground? We push him off high ground. He goes and comes into your backline. Every single time. Soldiers will always do this. McCrees will always do this as well. They will just come back up. Like, they love coming back up here. They'll heal themselves up and come back onto the back. So, like, if I was the McCree here, I'd just be watching this every time. I'd just be watching it. You can't do anything yourself to stop it, but know what they're going to do. There goes the soldier. What happens on the high ground? Soldier. But your Sigma's the only one left. He realizes at half health. And the soldier gets out. Crazy. The high ground fight is the way this fight is decided. This is the only thing that matters for the most part in terms of this fight. If you get this high ground, you get this staging. Put the Sigma and the McCree up there, you just win, unless they get pushed off by some crazy shit. That crazy shit can be a Lucio boot. It can just be a Reinhardt coming up here and just charging them off. That's been known to happen. But for the most part, it's going to be this soldier and Tracer trying to flank. So they managed to hold him off, and that was pretty much it. The good parts on Reinhardt into these comps is it's not very, very large brain stuff. It's chess, but you only have to make 3 moves to win. You push the choke, you keep everyone alive, you push the high ground, you stabilize on the high ground, you get the people that want to be there, and then you just drop and start hammering people when you've got an advantage. Remember, when you're on this poke comp does not want to fight now. It wants to get good staging, good angles, and then it will do value. It is not like poke is not a thing that fights at a specific time. It's a thing that just sets itself up and does work over a period of time. It's not the I'm going to drop now. It's the I'm getting value by just existing here. Dive wants to fight at a specific time when it's got an advantage on one particular person, and then Brawl always wants to fight whatever the hell like the first moment is. Oh, Cats has a question relevant to the game. What would you like to say, Cats? Ooh, tasty. Okay, so I'll go over this in a little bit more detail. So we're in Reinhardt versus Reinhardt War. We've both got Shatter. You should know the enemy is close to Shatter. You should know the enemy's close to Shatter. How many Reinhardts does it take to kill 50,000 Roadhogs? About 50,000. It's normally 1-to-1 on that ratio. So, yeah, we got a massive disadvantage. The moment we see this bullshit happening, we're just like, oh shit, it's like we're gonna get fucking shield broken. We're under a load of pressure. So, I like that you peek into the left. This Sigma and everyone else is still taking a shitload of damage. He rocks him, cool. Did you, like, what percentage ult charge did you think the Reinhardt was on at this point? Did you know he had 80%, or did you think he already had Shatter? Was it kind of like not really thinking about it? Had you mentally processed this and you thought about it? Because you should do most of your... I thought he had it. Cool. Just make sure in your games you do most of your thinking outside of combat. You should go into fights like this knowing exactly what... Sig said he got pinned? Cool. Yeah, your Sig should... Like, you should know what you're going up against before you go into it. You should Pre-plan. We go on left because we're looking for a cheeky flank angle. The Sigma should be able to hold down main. If you look, everyone's rotated away, so you're okay doing that. If everyone was on main, like the Bastion wasn't up there, you'd be under a lot more pressure. Like the Bastion up there kind of makes it so your backline goes away, so you're cool anyway. Yeah, late. It was late, wasn't it? What I do here every time when I'm in a platinum game, what I do here every single time in a platinum game is I'm shielding up here. I see the Reinhardt's got his shield low. He's going to need to back soon, and he's under a lot of pressure. Like, this is a massive advantage state for us. We got full shield. We played it really well, so we're cool. We see him start to swing. This could be a bait, couldn't it? So, if this is a bait for Shatter, we need to do it like we see the second hammer swing come out. Know what? I think it's late, dude. Know why I think it's late? I think it's late because you were jumping. I think it's the same problem as before. You were just jumping. Cats has decided he wants attention. Give me attention. Yeah, I think it's just late because you're jumping, to be quite honest. Okay, fire strike comes out. Cool. Nice spin. You had the intention to a while before. Yeah, you got to take the jumping out of your Reinhardt game, especially with Shatter. Like I said earlier today, one of the main tells that Rein want to shatter if they just stop jumping because they know they can't shatter in the air. So like in mid-diamond, you're just like, is he stopping jumping? Oh, cool. I guess he wants to shatter me now. Yeah, I would have probably shattered the moment the moment you want to shatter was timing it with the projected wearing off. That was the moment you wanted to do it. Any later, and you're probably screwed. Honestly, if this Reinhardt was better, that projected would have probably been a bait. You would have shielded up the moment the projected went off and just tried to block a shatter there. I would have probably flash shield there, brought it down a second later, then flash shield again. But it's rock, paper, scissors. Like, there's no guarantee, is there? Oh, no. Okay, soldier on left. They're out main. Have a quick look at the state of the battle because you can't really see much from a Reinhardt point of view. If I were you, I'd start using my third-person stuff a little bit more. Hold the left click where you got your shield up. Have a look around, see where people are. Because knowing who's with you, who's not with you, very important. Your echoes came with you. You're holding this with your echo. Your Sigma should be on high ground. You should be on low ground. You should swap. But apart from that, this is cool. Yeah, I like this. Remember, they have literally nothing that can push this high ground, so what do? We exist on high ground and eventually they lose. That's what we do. They push you off cart, your Sigma fades back to here. Okay, I'll start this fight from your point of view from here. So we've dropped. I'm fine with you dropping, like they've got nothing to push the high ground, we've already taken it off them. They're not going to come up this elevator for the most part, and it's not really your job anyway for the most part. Like, your Sigma should be up here. He should at least be using Flux to get up here. Every single time, if I'm going Sigma, I find myself on low ground, I want to Flux the tanks, I'll just pop myself on high after, like, there's no reason not to. Then we got Shatter, you're close to it. Little look away, I love it. Cool. Successful. Okay, you've got to throw out your Shatter in these kind of situations. If you want to push an advantage, sometimes it's just okay to just use them. The soldier and the Baptiste went high, but they didn't get value close enough in early enough in the match for it to matter. Okay. So I was trying to go on 2x speed that entire time, but the replay view is fucked, so, you know, I guess I can't. Boring, boring, stagger, stagger, stagger. And don't get me wrong, when you're on this point, your job is to go high. When I say your job, like, the Sigma should be up here, that's not your job. I mean, the Sigma should be able to stay up here. Your job should not be to stay up here. It should be to take this and then move on. The Sigma's the one that holds this for your team. The Sigma's the one that stops the flanks. The Sigma's the one that just exists up here and gets value. This is exactly the range he wants to play at. And he protects people a lot better than you in terms of protecting, like, I don't know, a McCree, an Echo, and a Moira up here. Like, this is good for him. You should take this with him and then drop. I don't mean you should just swap places, because the Sigma's just playing badly right now. Okay, we're just under too much pressure. The window comes out. Cool. What did I say, window? I don't know. They need window. They just use nano, and nano with gun does a lot. Yeah, pretty much ends now. Cool. Come back to the win. You got carried. Yeah. So the main interesting point on here is that you've worked out first. Okay, you've worked it out. You know what to do. You're now good. You're not botting down main. You're going to the high ground, clearing the high ground, making sure that's okay before you go down main. Now, you got to kind of like coax your other tank onto the high ground, I think, especially when your other tank is somebody that can hold it like Sigma. Sigma's, he's such a weird character because he's the only vertical movement character that really likes high ground. He has no climbing ability, but he loves it up there, and he is the guy that wants to go up there. Yeah, I don't think I have too much else to give you. I like the play, to be honest. Like, you played well and you held the high ground most part. Main interesting thing with the when you took it on second and then dropped on defense,